A very good evening, students. Welcome to our session on top design careers abroad. We have here with us Ms. Sakshi Mittal from University Leap. They are the pioneers in education abroad, and they would be talking about all the process right from applying to the university to getting university grants, and the whole insight of the process would be clear to you. Sakshi, we have here with us our students, trend students majorly, who are preparing with us for NIFT and NID entrance examinations, and they would like to have clarity on international design schools also. In our last session, we have covered about the European colleges and where we had participants from the European colleges and the representatives of teams of Instituto Maringani, NABA, and Domus Academy. They were there and the students had a clarity on these colleges also. I would like to invite you for this session, and I hope the session here is fruitful for all the students, because there were few areas where I personally feel our students still need more guidance in terms of how to go about into applying for a foreign institute. So over to Sakshi, we welcome here in the session, and our student representative Prisha would be taking care of all the queries on behalf of the students, and we have asked them to write it in the chat box, and Prisha will take it from there.
All right.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much for the invitation for this webinar. I'm glad that I'm able to help these students. I would like to welcome all the students for taking out this time on a Sunday to attend this webinar. And I am very hopeful that after today's webinar, I'm able to solve all your queries. I did manage to attend the last webinar, and I must say that was great and a great insight by universities. So yes, Meenakshi did inform me about the areas which the students would like me to cover. So just to set the context going, in today's webinar, we'll first cover a little bit more about firstly what are the different areas in design, in art, in fashion that students can take when they are applying for universities abroad. Then in the second session we'll take up what it actually takes to get into these top universities and what's the exact process related to that. And lastly, we are going to cover about that in different countries like UK, USA, Canada, Singapore, which are the top universities and what are the advantages and disadvantages of applying to different schools. So yes, here we have a lot of students with us who are already preparing for their entrance examinations to top universities in NIFT, in NID. And, as we all know that admissions in India, I mean, in NID and NIFT are great institutes, but admissions do get competitive, and that's where we look at backup options for our careers. So that's what we'll have today. And in the end, I'll try to cover as many queries as possible. All right. To start with, just to give a little background about us. So as a company, we are called University Leap, and we are a completely student-centric company. About myself, I'm the founder for University Leap, and I completed my master's degree in psychology from University of Manchester, as well as have done career counseling certifications from UCLA in USA and NCDA in USA. And over the past years, we've been guiding students to get into top universities abroad, whether it's Ivy Leagues, top universities in UK, USA, Canada, Australia, all of that for a wide variety of courses, including art, including design, including fashion. I have personally visited a lot of campuses of different international universities abroad in all countries. So I'm very hopeful that I can give you the first-hand information about those today. So talking about ourselves, our prime aim is not only to have you admitted in a university, but to make sure that each one of you here today are actually going for a course that you like, because that's very important. As a career counselor, in my previous years of experience, what I've realized is that, university admission, of course, is one thing, but something that is equally important is for you all to decide that, if the course is right for you or not. So in that way, yes, we are very student centric, and we do not push you to go to an institution, whether it's in India or abroad, but rather have a solution which suits you individually. So, taking forward to that, let's start today. Here are some of my few snaps from institutions that I had visited. I have visited, colleges in Singapore, if you can see, the LaSalle College of the Arts, and many other institutions that I have worked with. So, post that, now today, before even getting into what it takes to get into an university abroad, I would first like to talk about a lot of career options that have come today in the field of art, design, and fashion. I mean, I'm sure most of you know that it's a very, very upcoming field. It's a very popular field with a huge opportunities. I mean, just look around yourselves, right from a laptop to a pen to the clothes that we are wearing to the furniture that we are sitting on today. Everything is a work of a designer. So, firstly, I'll congratulate all of you for choosing this path. It's a great path, I can assure you, with a lot of opportunities in the future. Now, coming to this, there has been a usual trend of just picking up two, three popular options in the field of design as well. So mostly when I talk to school students or even college students, I see maximum, students are picking up courses either related to fashion designing, interior architecture, maybe graphic designing, and a few other courses, of course. But still there is a lot more scope that the students are not aware about. So as a result, what does happen is that I get many students who in fact completed their fashion design degrees or other design degrees, and post 4 years of those degrees or 3 years of those degrees, then they are in a situation where they don't actually like what they are doing. So now, talking about careers in fashion and art, I usually kind of segregate them into 3 4 different categories. The first category is for students who actually love drawing, who actually like sketching, and they are very good at it. So now, before I start this, this would be a good news for the students that who are interested in the field of fashion, but at the same time, if they feel that their drawing and their sketching is not very good, we have in the following slides more options coming from for you. But specifically for students who feel that their art, their design, their drawing capabilities are very good, we have career options and course options for them, like fashion design, interior design, product design, fine arts, jewelry design, accessory design, textile design. So all students who want to apply for these courses and who are thinking about going for these courses, bear in mind that both the career as well as the course would demand you to have very nice sketching and drawing skills. I would urge students that who are not maybe that good with their sketching, drawing, painting, to maybe look at some alternative options, because for sure these are some of the career options that would require you to be very, very good with your sketching. So all of them are extremely good options. And in fact, nowadays when you'll see a university website, specifically abroad university, you will have a plethora of courses available. I mean, yesterday itself, I was checking at London College of Fashion, and they have new courses like contour design as well nowadays. Contour design is basically your lingerie design. So that's such a unique and a niche field. So what you all need to start doing is start opening up more of your minds into different areas. I can assure you that this is the area of more of specializations. We have too many people who are doing common courses which everybody is doing, but out there you will have a lot more variety of courses, very niche courses, which can actually, have you set a great career path for your careers, because not too many people abroad or in fact in India are doing it. In terms of design, if I talk about now, within fashion design also you will have courses which are, specialized into sportswear design, or if in fact in accessory design, I talk about, you'll have courses which are related to specific products, say industrial products, consumer products, etc. So a lot of scope over there. So what you need to do as a student is, even for the upcoming slides, is spend some time on this decision for your career. As I say कि जब हम लोग एक कार खरीदते हैं, when we buy a car, or in fact let me give you an option that when we post a picture on Instagram, we do so much work behind it. We'll think what filter to put in, what hashtags to put in, what tagline to put in, and of course then we do that for the best of the results. But often we don't do that with our careers. We just think about one course option. Okay, I've heard about fashion design, that's very good, and I'm good with drawing, let me just go for that course. And I'm not saying fashion design is not a good course. It's an excellent course, of course. It's an excellent course, of course, but you can look into more options to see what actually suits your interests the most. So these are some career options for students who are very good with their art, design, drawing, sketching, etc. Now next we move on to students, and like I've been saying that most of us are very different people. Not all of us have to follow the same career path. Now within the people, all of us who are very artistic, you'll always find that between all of us, even attending this webinar today, some of you might feel that yes, you are very, very artistic in nature, but maybe when it comes to drawing and sketching on a pen and paper, you are good at it, but that's not something that you enjoy that much. But rather, you enjoy working more on softwares, more on technology. You have a very good artistic bend, you have a very good knowledge of design, of art, but not necessarily you are very good at sketching or a drawing. So some very good options that can be there for you are things like graphic design, animation, game design, photography, website designing, filmmaking, user interaction and experience design. That's supposed to be UI and UX design. Sorry for the typo. So that's a really, really upcoming field. I mean, every company that today is using this. So what is user experience and user interaction design is anything right from when a user is entering a website, the entire experience that they have. Or for example, even when you are entering a departmental store. So you'll see in abroad nowadays websites, stores like IKEA stores, your departmental stores, or even stores like Adidas, McDonald's. They have made everything very automized for people to come, click on things, place their orders. So behind that is all a user interaction and a user experience technology. So for all of those technology buffs out there, these are some very good options for you to choose from. And as we all know, this is the era of technology. I mean, even for fashion design, interior design, all of that, we will be using a lot of softwares when it comes to studying the course, or even doing our work later on in our job life. But these courses are specifically which are totally technology, totally software based, with a lot of freelance opportunities out there. I mean, let's take photography itself. Earlier, it used to be one of those options which was a little less excuse me, which was considered that it's not paid that much, etc., and it's a low paid thing. But today, I see so much craze for photography thanks to social media. You have your pre-wedding shoot, pre-maternity shoot, post-wedding shoots, and whatnot. So a great scope over there as well. Next, now this is something that's very important, because over time, as I have spoken to many students, I have come across students who've actually finished their degrees in design but have actually told me that designing is not something that we are very interested in. I mean, there could be some of you out there that the industry, when we talk about an industry as a whole, the fashion industry, the design industry, that might excite you a lot. The whole idea of being on a Lakme Fashion Week and doing things over there might excite you a lot. So for that, you don't necessarily have to do a design course in a fashion design. If you are one of those people who like business, who like marketing, who like branding, advertising, communication, but still want to be in the field of fashion but not really do the design part of it, some very good options for you right there are fashion business management, fashion advertising, fashion communication, art curation. People open art galleries nowadays, so you are the people who actually have a very good sense of art, that this is a very good painting, this is what sells nowadays. You work on curating, whereas fashion business management, as the name suggests, you have some designers who will obviously design their fashion lines, right? But then there are a whole set of people behind it who are actually managing the show. Say on a Lakme Fashion Week, we have the designers who are doing the design, making the clothing line, but then there is a team of at least 100 people behind them who are running the show, who are getting the advertisers for them, who are writing their blogs, who are handling their social media. So that all covers in fashion, business management, fashion advertising, communication, fashion buying and merchandising, when you are into imports, exports, buying things, buying the cloth material. So a lot of again scope over here. So I would highly suggest that for students who are just getting into a design degree because they want to be behind the scenes, say they want to work for a fashion magazine, they want to work for a fashion company and managing, they want to work with a designer for managing their entire operations. So these are some very good courses for you. In fact, even a lot of companies that cater to interior designing, architectural designing, they all need managers, right? So you can do a lot of courses into art management, design management, where you have an in-depth knowledge about the industry and use your management skills at the same time to move forward. Fashion psychology, for example, is a very, very upcoming field. People actually hire consumer psychologists and fashion psychologists. For example, if a company is coming out with a line for teenagers or toddlers, or for example, say older people, they want to know that what is the psychology behind them, what factors do they take into place while what factors do they consider before buying something. So again, let's open up our minds more. And today, one thing that I really want all of you to do is that once the webinar is open and once we discuss a lot of colleges, to actually take the next 1 or 2 weeks, spend time on researching about different college and course options, particularly read through the curriculum, ask yourself some questions like that: do I see myself as an innovative designer? Do I see myself that in my free time, do I love sketching, do I love drawing, I instantly get ideas? Do I think I want to be a designer, or I am better at technology, or like we've been talking about, I might be better suited for a role which is more management oriented? So think about that and then take your decision wisely into that. And some options here again in this field where you actually need to do a lot of hands-on work, neither much of management nor much of design particularly is needed, but you need to be passionate about it. Things like makeup and hair. I mean, makeup artists and hair artists are becoming so big everywhere. We have the designers who are designing clothes, but we still need somebody to actually get the models ready. Fashion styling, this is such an amazing field nowadays. Ask any, from a big to a small celebrity, all of them have a fashion stylist with them. So for you folks who actually are very good with picking up, okay, this goes very well with this, and who love keeping up with the latest styles, again, you don't have to necessarily go for a design degree, right? You can very well go in for a fashion styling degree where you help the designers style different people according to their body shape, complexion, style, to the event. So very, very nice opportunities over there. Set design and production fashion design is also something with so many films coming, theaters coming. So if any of you particularly have an interest in that field, that's something that you can go for. One thing which needs you to do hands-on thing, and a very very upcoming field, is prosthetics. I can't emphasize on how upcoming that is. Your colleges like Vancouver Film School, London College of Fashion, Parsons Institute of Design, all of them are offering courses in prosthetics. So what is prosthetics is when you see these movies and you see the makeup that is done to people in all these superhero movies, or if any of you had seen movies like say or Avengers and all of that. So a lot of things are done to actually do makeup behind it. So again, a very niche and an upcoming field which you can check. So this was a bit of an eye opener for all of you about the kind of options that are available abroad. So I think that should be one of your reasons to also pick up a university abroad, is the kind of wide variety of courses that they are offering, right? So you'll find that in Indian universities, though they've made massive changes, and colleges like NIFT, NID are offering most of these courses, but when we move beyond that, many of colleges are not offering all sorts of courses. So that can be one of our reasons for actually choosing universities abroad. Now, moving forward, this becomes very important. So I know that most of you who had registered were in class 11, 12, or in school, and of course a few of you in colleges as well. So a big question actually comes to our mind is like, even I've given you so many options, but how do you actually figure out that what you are good at and what course will suit you the most? So, some activities that I'd suggest that all of you can do is, one is psychometric testing, aptitude testing. A lot of you who are in different schools, your school might have done this for you. So what is psychometric testing is, it's an aptitude and an interest testing. Like I said, that all of us are very different people. Some of us might be more inclined towards the management side. Some of us might be more inclined into doing hands-on things. Some of us might be more inclined toward designing. So with a set of questions, some aptitude questions, some interest questions, some personality questions, we kind of gauge that which career options are the best suited for you. So if your school has already done that, that's great. For those of you whose school has not done this, this is a service that we provide. So you can let us know, or anybody else that who's doing it. So that can be a good tool for you. Besides that, that can only give you an indication. The real realization would actually come from doing different things. So one great tool over there is online courses. So nowadays, if all of you know, there are many websites like EDX, Coursera, Udemy, many other such websites which are giving free online courses, or courses at a very nominal amount. So now, before diving into a new course and actually figuring out 4 years later, oh no, this is something that I did not like, it's always a good idea to just do a 1-2 hours or a 4-5 hours of a course into the field that you are thinking about going. Because most of the course options that you all are thinking about for the future, and the ones that even I have mentioned, unfortunately most of them are not offered at the school level in class 11th and 12th, except maybe a fine arts and a fashion studies course. So sometimes what happens is, what we've thought about that the course contains is not necessarily what it is. We all have so many preconceived notions about it. So before actually investing so much money and time into it, it's always a good idea, especially for those who are in class 10th, 11th, early on in class 12th, to actually do 2-3 potential courses that you think are interesting you before deep diving into and committing yourself to a 4-year college course. Then second of all, yes, summer schools and short courses come into place. So what exactly are summer schools and short courses? Like, for example, even in India, colleges like NIFT, Symbiosis, MIT, Pearl Academy, sometimes they offer short-term courses or evening courses. So if you have time in hand, I know because of the COVID situation, situation, I think on campus for the next few months would become next to impossible for many of you to attend. But yes, they provide summer schools that are 1 month in 1 month of a summer. You can actually, go into a fashion school in India and abroad both, and actually experience that are you made for such schools or not. Then of course you have online internships. They become very important. So for example, somebody is confused between, okay, whether I should go in for a fashion designing or a fashion business management or maybe a graphic designing. It's always a good idea for you to do an online internship or a physical internship, even for a week or 10 days with someone, because that actually kind of gives you a picture about what the real world looks like. Because sometimes on paper, on television, some things might look very, very, glamorous to us, and in reality there is a lot of work involved behind it. Now job shadowing is something I know, since many of you are below the age of 18 years, it might be difficult in India to find an internship. So job shadowing is a way. Now what is job shadowing is in your friend circle, in your family circle, or even if you can connect to some professional companies, what you do in a job shadow is go with a person who's actually into that field for 2 to 3 days and actually just observe them, see what their work is like, and kind of gauge for yourself that whether or not you will like this or not. Then, of course, talking to your seniors, reading the course curriculums, that actually finishes off 50% of your doubts. And then for many of you, I would say that this is one area which most students find very difficult when they reach universities. Now that decision between should I go in for a design course or not, like I mentioned before, whether you are going for an artistic based course or a technology based course like graphic designing, or whether you're going for something like a fashion designing, besides sketching on paper, softwares is something that you will need to use. Softwares like AutoCAD, Photoshop, Corel Draw. So I highly suggest that, like we had mentioned about these online courses, you can maybe take a short course, download these softwares, and actually work and see that if, that is something that you are liking, and are you able to do that or not. For example, Canva is a wonderful, software for people looking at going into things like graphic designing, animation. You can actually, take a week and do them and see that are you liking it or not. For people wanting to go into things like animation, website design, excuse me, nowadays you have website portals like Shopify, Wix, even WordPress, for example, in which you can easily make your own website. So give it a try, actually become hands-on and be more practical. So I'm telling you, this is very important. Of course, it will help you find out what you actually like and what you don't like and what you are good at. Be something that it's going to help you in, which I'll cover in my slides further, is your profile building, which becomes very, very important when we are talking about admissions to universities abroad. Unlike in India, where there is just one entrance examination, interview, and a check for your portfolio, universities abroad are looking at students who can really prove that they are very passionate about the field that they are going for. Now, I know that, in India, because of the pressure of our studies, not having enough opportunities, most of us are not able to do activities like internships, short courses, making our own websites, and all of these things. But then what happens is when you see students abroad, they start working right from the age of 16. And by the time they are applying to colleges, on their profile, they have 3-4 internships in their hand. They can showcase some projects they've done. They can showcase that, okay, we've attended summer schools, we've done these online courses. And that is where we kind of lag behind and get weeded out in the competition. So if even if our school or our surroundings are not giving us enough opportunities, these are some tools through which you can actually build your profile. So building your profile means these are the extracurricular activities through which you can, A, of course, like I said, gauge what you are liking. B, you can actually add it as a part of your resume that, okay, see, before even coming to the university, I've already done this much, and that's my proof to you that I'm actually passionate about this field. So again, I'll share this presentation with all of you post the webinar. I'll email it to all the attendees. So do make, use of these tools, and I'm assuring you that it will be very, very helpful for you. Now, I won't go much into this. I think this is something that I started with, that, why you should consider studying abroad. Of course, one of the reasons, those reasons are, of course, that there is a great amount of exposure, and, a lot of technology and latest tools are there. You get a lot of personality development, because once we are staying away from home and we are not spoon fed everything, that kind of makes us, very independent. But, one very important factor is, I myself, in fact, even deal with education in India. We give equal importance to that as well. But, unfortunately, we have only 2, 3 very good design institutes in India, and the admissions, as we all know it, are very, very competitive. So, of course, you guys keep preparing for those entrance examinations, start building your portfolio for that. But in case we are not able to get into those top 4, 5 design schools, then as a backup, we can, think about these options. And of course, some of you might only be thinking about abroad, so that's okay as well. So they have a huge variety of courses abroad. It's a very safe environment, and a much more, creative freedom is out there. When you meet people from different cultures, different countries, know about what their styles are or what culture is in their country, it kind of opens up your mind a lot more towards different ideas, and which I think any creative career needs a lot, more than any degree, more than any education. While that's equally important, what's more important is how you actually, enhance your creativity. So that those are some reasons that you should be picking up, going abroad. Now, like I said, admissions for abroad work very differently for that of India. Now, to give you a picture, first of all, the admissions all start 1 year in advance. So for example, all of you who are in class 12th right now, or in your final year of college looking for a postgraduate degree, in case of class 12, when you are looking for an undergraduate degree or a course, all your applications are going to start 1 year in advance. So this means all of you class 12 students out there, your applications will all have either begun or will start happening right from next month, that's September. During the first week till the second week, most universities have either already opened or will open their admissions for you to apply 1 year in advance. So this is something that you should keep in mind, that you will not wait for your board examinations or final exams to get over. The application process starts right 1 year in advance. And then what are some of the things that are needed are, academic grades are important. This is a myth that, I'm just applying to a design school and my grades will not be important. So that's not true. Yes, how it can differ is, unlike for students applying for an engineering course or a business course, a lot of emphasis might not be, given to certain subjects like science subjects, or for example, maths. You can pick up subjects that you like at your own pace. But yes, they are going to see your academic performance. And academic performance for some countries like Canada and USA are particularly looked from class 9th. So your class 9, 10th, 11th, 12th, all academics sometimes are looked at. So this, of course, I'm talking about the top universities, since I think I received a lot of queries about colleges like Parsons, London College of Fashion, even Hong Kong Polytechnic Institutes. So these institutes are going to, look at your academic grades as well. Now, I know this question is very common, that what is the cutoff for the percentage that they need? There is no right answer for that. आपकी percentage जितनी ज़्यादा होगी, the better college you will be able to get. Then, of course, we need to have a resume for you. Even if you are in school, in the previous slides that we were talking about, a resume, an activity resume has to be submitted to the university, showcasing what all extracurricular activities you've done in terms of competitions, anything else, online courses, summer schools. It can be anything at all, that has to be put in your resume. And not necessarily that this always has to be related to everything that that is design based. It can be other things also, but yes, a large proportion of it you will have to show that why in design you are particularly important. So that covers your resume and your extracurricular activities. Then letters of recommendations are something that you need. So these are given by your school counselors or teachers. So usually these need to be attached to the application. Then you have statement of purpose and a lot of essays. So now this is a very, very important document that is there. I mean, the university can visually see your portfolio, they can see your grades, they can look at your resume, but they would want to hear from you that what is that makes you a fit for their university, why should they choose you. So again, different universities will have a different kind of essay topics. Some universities ask you to submit a statement of purpose, which is a generic statement that you give to the university telling them about yourself, what your previous achievements have been, why are you passionate for that particular course, what have you done in your last 3-4 years of life to actually enhance your profile, and why you think they should select you. While some other colleges can have very specific essay topics. So for example, like I think last year Parsons college or either London College of Fashion, one of them had an essay topic that pick up an artist of your inspiration and tell us about it, that why that artist inspires you. So you can have some specific essays like that as well. That will depend from university to university. Internships again is a part of the extracurricular activities, but yes, specifically for design schools, this plays a lot of importance, whether it's a job shadow, an online internship, etc. Then nowadays, I think something is missing from here: strong LinkedIn profile and online presence. So many universities nowadays have started also looking at your online presence and LinkedIn also, since it's a professional platform. LinkedIn is a professional platform which is like a Facebook for academics, for jobs, etc. So I would say that you all should make your profile on that, and that's an amazing way to actually showcase all your activities. So some universities do ask for that also. And in terms of online presence, as we've been saying that it's the era of technology and everything has been done online, especially after this COVID-19 pandemic, everything is online. So for example, like I have been talking about online presence, like if you can make a website of your portfolio, or for example, if somebody is going for a photography course and they have an Instagram page or any other Pinterest or a Flickr page where they can showcase their work. So these are some things that also account for, because of course again they showcase your work as well as they show the university how good you are with using different kind of technology. And then followed by MOOCs, as we spoke about in the previous slide, are massive open online courses. That's the terminology that's used for it. So some online courses again showing that you went beyond the academics of your CBSE or ICSE or the IB board and went a step further ahead to actually go into the subject that you like. Then some top universities also want you to do some sort of a community service, participating in some NGO activities to see that you are seeing the greater good. And then essays I already spoke about, and most of the design schools would also have an interview with you. So as in a summary, when you are starting to apply, you will need all your academic transcripts from class 9, 10th, 11th, 12th. In that, some colleges will ask only for class 10th and 12th mark sheet. And yes, of course, for those of you who are in class 12, you will not have your final grade by then. So then universities ask for predicted grades, or they say submit your half yearly marks to us. So that's something that you will need. You will need your resume. And I'll come to the portfolio later. You'll need your resume, you'll need your essays, letter of recommendation, all your online presence, extracurricular certificates, and all of that. And most applications for abroad are all done online. And there is a section where you can actually submit all of this work of yours, all of these documents that I'm talking about. And then standardized examinations. So standardized examinations are examinations like SAT, IELTS, TOEFL, ACT, if you've heard about them. Contrary to the popular belief that design schools don't need entrance examinations, you will have universities, particularly in USA, that need students to write the SAT examination for majority of the university. Now, something very, and IELTS and TOEFL examination is an English language proficiency examination that no matter what country you are going for, whether it's Canada, UK, Singapore, USA, Australia, that's something that, you know, you should give. When you are applying to USA and Canada, TOEFL is a slightly preferred course. TOEFL is a slightly preferred test, and for other countries, IELTS is preferred. And in terms of the SAT examination and the ACT examination, if that's there, and for that, US universities are some what require those. So basically, US universities require your SAT and ACT examinations. Rest of the countries usually don't require all these examinations. Now, what I was coming to is an important announcement for students who are currently in class 12th and are looking for applying for the September 2021 intake. Due to the COVID pandemic, most US universities have actually, for this year, only for this year, waived off their SAT requirements. So even if students have not given their SAT, particularly for this year, this is going to be a lucky thing for you. You can still apply without the SAT, because SATs were not happening in most of the countries. Colleges have waived off this requirement. And now coming lastly to the portfolio. Yes, most design and creative courses that you are going for would require you to have a portfolio. Portfolio would be given a lot more importance when we were talking about the artistic courses like interior architecture, fashion designing, jewelry designing, those kind of courses. For courses that are more on the management side, like fashion styling, fashion business management, luxury management, fashion communication, many colleges don't require a portfolio for that. So if somebody doesn't have a portfolio, or they feel that their portfolio has not been developed well enough, for those courses, some colleges might ask you to skip. For fashion design, accessory design, textile design, interior design, usually you would always need the portfolio. You would always need portfolio. For courses like graphic design, which are technology based, again, you know, you would need portfolio. Now your portfolio can be a mix. This portfolio requirement will be very different from every university, but usually you need to submit 10 to 12 of your artwork. This can include paintings, photography, still life, etc. So now, depending on the course, there might be some, you know, twitches to it. So for example, if somebody is applying to a graphic design university, the university might want to see more of, you know, any animation or any graphics that you've made, or any paintings that you've made than sketches. And or they might want to see a short film that you've shot, or you can show them your photography samples as well. On the other hand, a fashion design course might ask you to submit more of your, you know, hand done work in terms of sketches and paintings. So that requirement, you know, depends from university to university, but in general, all of them require you to have between 10 to 15 of your artworks that are there. So what I'll quickly do is, I think I did get some requests to showcase one or two portfolios that actually did make it to top universities. So I'll just, you know, quickly do that. Okay. Are you able to see the portfolio?
No, ma'am, it's not visible right now.
Okay, I'll just quickly just share it, try to share it again. Just give me a second, please. Yeah, can you see it now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So this was a portfolio of a student who was applying for a fashion design course. So I'll just quickly go through that. So this girl, she actually did make it into, I think, Savannah College of Arts and Design in USA, and into University of Westminster in UK, as well as I think London College of Fashion for one course. So this was a completely fashion based portfolio. And then, of course, you have to keep in mind that universities don't only look at one thing, they will give weightage to the portfolio, your extracurriculars, your grades, your standardized examinations, extracurricular activities that you've done. So, for example, this student that I'm talking about, she had actually interned in Vogue in her class 12 summer vacations. So, that actually counts for a lot. So just to give you an idea, this was her portfolio, and this was completely for a fashion, design course. And along with the presentations, I'll also include the sample portfolios for you. So now this was a student who went for an interior architecture design course, and the requirement for the university was that along with their artwork, they had to actually give it a title and describe the artwork as well. So a lot of universities would do that. I think you're not able to view that, are you? Yeah, this is the portfolio that I'm talking about. This is for the interior architecture. Can you view this portfolio? Somebody can just quickly say a yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah. So this,
yes,
yeah. So this was a portfolio that was for an interior and an architecture design, in which the student has actually showcased their different artworks. So this includes, sketches, paintings, some 3D models that they've made using softwares. One of a photo that they took. And then later on, they've actually included the full-blown pictures for their portfolio. So I think some of you had asked questions that how big or small my painting should be. I don't think the size matters much, because you will eventually have to scan it and put it up digitally, in which you can actually adjust different sizes as per the university asks. So you can have the liberty of making your actual drawings and paintings on whatever size you feel it's comfortable, but make sure you preserve it right, because you will have to digitize it, because that's the way you'll have to send your portfolio. Only one or two universities sometimes ask you to send the hard copy of your photocopied portfolio to them. So, these are some portfolios that I shared with you to give you an idea. So I think we'll just quickly move back to the presentation now. So can you all view the presentation again?
yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So now quickly coming, before we move on to what are the top universities for different countries, I'll just quickly cover that what are the different type of courses that the universities are offering. So a lot of universities are offering, like I covered before as well, short-term courses as well as summer courses. So these are very good for you to go early on, either that is in your either class 10th or 11th, or for college students in your summer vacations, to just get a hang or an idea about it, particularly for those of you who are in college and don't want to take a full 1 or 2 years of a master's degree or a postgraduate degree. Short courses can be a very good option for you. So usually they run for a month or 2 months in the summer breaks or winter breaks. So it can be an add-on course. So for example, if somebody has done a fashion design course and they also want to gain the knowledge about fashion styling, or say fashion business management, so a lot of these universities would offer these short-term courses. Then of course you have the bachelor's degrees, you have the master's degrees, that is there. One thing that a lot of universities have are foundation courses. So sometimes what happens is, I'm sure that many of you here, right from the past 1 or 2 years, you have been preparing yourself for getting into an art school in terms of your portfolio and those kind of things. But now, what exactly are foundation courses? They are offered both for students going for bachelor's courses as well for master's courses. Foundation courses are basically for someone who feels that they are not at that point prepared enough for getting into a design school, in terms that it's a lately developed interest, or if they are falling a little short of their portfolio or marks. So what you can do is, before finally starting your degree, you can do a 1 year of a foundation course with that school and still get into it. So for example, if somebody is applying to a Parsons or a London College of Fashion, or a Pratt Institute, or Savannah College of Arts and Design, and they are not able to get into the university because maybe the university has said that at this point we feel your portfolio is not good enough, or they say that we feel your grades are not good enough. So you can always do a 1 year of a foundation course with them and then move on to the main course. This is particularly very useful for people who have done their bachelor's degree in a completely different field, and now they want to venture into art, design, fashion. So you can do a foundation degree even if you don't have much of a background in design. Then besides the bachelor's and master's courses, there are some diploma courses as well, which you can, and these courses are for 1 or 2 years. You can do them after your class 12th also, and after your graduation also. So this is for anybody who thinks that, they don't want to deep dive into a full 3 year degree or a 4 year degree, but just want to go to a design school to, do a shop. This is so basically a diploma course would be, say, a longer than a summer school, which is for 1 or 2 months, but shorter than a bachelor degree. So usually from 6 to 9 months, this is a kind of course. So this can be done as a standalone course also, or sometimes as an add-on course for somebody who's already done a degree into it. So now one benefit of a diploma course is also that you can first do a 1 or 2 year of a diploma course, work for a couple of years, and then go back to school for 2 years to complete your degree. So these are some of the courses that are most prevalent, but I think the queries that we've gotten most for today's webinar were more at a bachelor's degree. So for those of you who have been, preparing well in advance in terms of their portfolio, most of you would not require a foundation degree, but that's still an option if you do feel that right now I'm not very prepared to get into a design school. Next, in terms of the most popular countries that are there for designing are USA, Canada, UK, Australia, Europe, and Singapore. So these are basically some of the most popular ones. So now I'll take them one by one and also tell you what are the top universities in each of these countries. So of course, going on about each of the university would not be possible within this webinar. So what I'll suggest is, post this webinar for students wanting information about a particular country, particular university, or anything, can actually book in a session. I'll share my contact details in the end, so you can book in a personal Zoom session with me, because covering each university will not be possible as of now. So we'll quickly start with UK. So some of the top universities that are there in UK are London College of Fashion, Central St. Martin's, Goldsmiths University, Leeds, Nottingham Trent, Manchester University, University of Creative Arts, and many others like that. So I've listed about the top 10, 15 of them that are there in UK. Now in UK, basically the major advantage that is there for you to apply in UK is, first of all, they don't need any examinations like the SAT examinations or the ACT examinations. So that's something you don't have to worry about, because a lot of times students do tell me that they haven't picked up maths in class 11th and 12th, which is a component of the SAT, and sometimes find it difficult to write. So in UK, that's not something that you will have to worry about. In terms of fees, the fees starts from somewhere from an 11 lakhs and can go up to a 25 lakhs per year as well for your bachelor's courses. So say, for example, something like a London College of Fashion, which is an absolute top, it can go up to a 12 or 25 lakhs per year. Something like a University of Creative Arts, which is again a very good and a top university, the fees ranges from 11 12 lakhs per year. And the living expenses are usually around 7 to 8 lakhs, which the students can actually cover by working part-time over there, which you are allowed to work for 20 hours per week. And then in terms of intakes in UK, traditionally September is the major intake where all universities would offer you courses. But now with the current situation, many universities are also offering some courses in January intake. Now, if you go to UK, you'll after your bachelor's degree get a 2 years of stay back over there, in which you can stay, find a job, and if you have a job in hand, this visa can be extended further as well. In terms of the duration of the course, this is again an advantage that undergraduate degrees are for 3 years and postgraduate degrees are for 1 year, as opposed to say a Canada or USA where majorly degrees are for 4 years. So you actually cut down on 1 year of your expenses, both in terms of the tuition fees as well as the living expenses as well. For admissions, like we covered before, standardized examinations like SAT are not needed. You would usually need a portfolio, statement of purpose, your academic documents, and extracurricular activities. That would be enough for you to apply to these universities. In terms of the IELTS examination, which is the English language proficiency examination, UK is very, very flexible, and in fact, even waiving this IELTS examination off for students who score above a 80 in English in their CBSE examinations, or those who have a HL in their HL English in their IB board, if some of you here are from IB board. So UK, it's a hub for students. There is no problem at all in the university. You have great campuses with all accommodations in the university. It's 100% English speaking, so no language problem there. And about the courses that I was talking to you about, you name a course, like right from say a fashion design to sportswear design to user interaction to lingerie design to ceramic design, sculpture, you will find everything, all variety of courses. I think that's the biggest advantage that UK also has, that you name it and they will have a course for it. So they have been very innovative in those in that front. Now, moving on to USA, it has remained one of the most preferred destination for students. It is an education hub. If you pick up any top 100 universities in the world for anything, you will find that majority of universities are US universities. They are very, very forward with their approach, both in terms of technology and the way that they actually teach. It's very hand-on. For most design schools in USA, the first year is always called as a base year, in which no matter what field of design you are going for, they actually give you a very strong base in design. And then from your second, third, and fourth year, you can start choosing your specialization. So USA, if we talk about the top institutes, some of the top institutes include Fashion Institute of Technology, Parsons School of Design, Savannah College of Arts and Design, Pratt Institute, Rhode Island College of the School of Design, University of Southern California, New York University, MIT, Boston, UCLA, etc. Some of even the Ivy League universities have very good art courses, more of the fine arts courses, but yes, they have a lot of courses. Now for USA, they have one of the most competitive admissions in the world. So of course that's not a drawback, but that's a hindrance to your admission. Apart from this year where most universities have waived off the SAT, they would usually require the students to have an SAT, excellent portfolio. They will have additional essays apart from the generic statement of purpose. They would need you to write the IELTS or the TOEFL examination. They would very closely look into your extracurricular activities, internships, your academics right from class 9. So in that way, it's very wholesome. That's why it's difficult as well. They would look at a lot of things over there. Again, in terms of courses, they do have a very wide variety of courses. It has the most number of top universities in the world. In terms of stay back, you usually, except from the technology courses that include science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, you will just get a 1 year of a stay back, and post that, if you are able to retain your job, you can further apply for a work visa. Now, the duration of courses in USA, undergraduate courses are for 4 years and postgraduate courses are for 2 years. So that is their education system, where it is 4 years. So that kind of sometimes increases your expenses a little bit. Again, major intake is September for most universities, while some can offer a January intake. Living expenses pretty much everywhere remain the same, about 7 to 8 lakhs, which you can very easily, cover while working part-time. Now, in terms of the fees, this is where another hindrance comes in USA, that the fees can range from a 15 lakhs per year to say a 40 lakhs per year as well for some universities like a MIT or a New York University. So those top schools are actually a very expenses. And to quickly actually say about both UK and USA, they do offer scholarships for students. So anywhere from 20 to 25% scholarship you can get in all countries. Now, your how much scholarship you get will also depend on your portfolio, extracurriculars, again the standardized examinations. Now, how you apply for scholarships: usually when you are applying, in the application form itself there is a section for you to apply for scholarships. And apart from that, on the university website, there is a separate column for scholarships as well, where you can actually log on and apply for scholarships, and they might ask you to write separate scholarship essays as well. So, that is actually, I wouldn't say it's a myth, but sometimes a lot of wrong information goes around that your universities easily give you up to 100% scholarship. While that's true, you have to keep in mind and bear in mind that happens in 1 in 10 lakh students who has received a full 100% scholarship. But apart from that, budgeting, that's why it's very important. So for example, if you are looking at USA and a particular university has a 45 lakh or a 40 lakh of a fees per year, even if they give you a 50% scholarship, still then you will have to take out a budget of 20 lakhs per year just for the tuition fees, and of course the living expense is separate. So for those of you, if some of you here are in class 10, 11, you should be talking to your parents and talking about how you have to be doing the budgeting, the education loans, etc. Now, moving on to Europe, this has been a favorite destination for students, particularly students who are looking at, interior architecture and fashion design. Needless to say, it's a hub for fashion. It's a hub for different great monuments. And I think the entire vibe in Europe is just very artistic. So, one actually is able to explore their artistic abilities a lot over there. And yes, Europe is a hub of fashion. I think some of the universities you did interact with last time as well. So many of our students are also studying in those universities. So again, universities include Marangoni, Polytechnic University of Milan, College of Paris in Art, Esmond College, Domus Academy, and many more that we've listed here. So you do have great schools in Europe. In terms of tuition fees, it's pretty much like UK, anywhere from 15 to 25 lakhs per year. The living expense, again, 7 to 8 lakhs per year. Again, in terms of intake, it's September or January. Usually most universities offer both intakes. The duration of the course is also fine. That's 3 years for undergrad and 1 year for the postgrad. Stay back option ranges from 1 year to 2 years depending on which country you are in. So for example, if you are in France, it might give you 2 years. If you're in Milan, it usually gives you 1 year. And most of the courses in Europe have a wonderful thing about having a practical internship as a part of their project. So that thing is very good. Again, standardized examinations are not needed. That is the SAT examination and ACT. You will still need your IELTS examination, portfolio, SOP, your extracurricular activities and academics. The only little disadvantage that I can think of in terms of Europe is the language barrier. because except for UK, which after the Brexit is not a part of Europe anymore, except for Ireland, actually most of these places in Europe, whether it's France, Finland, Germany, Milan, all of them, they are not English speaking. And it's highly suggested that, to actually make the most of your experience, if you are planning to go to a European university, you at least learn the basics of their language. Otherwise, it can get a little tough to get internships or jobs as well. So, language is a little bit of a barrier in Europe. Apart from that, the universities are excellent. So for all those who are planning to go into Europe early on, start picking on the basics of the language in the place that you are going for. Now, moving on to Canada, ideally, Canada is not really much of a hub for fashion courses, but yes, it is very good for things like which are more technology based in terms of graphics, animation, 3D modeling, and those kind of courses. Like I was talking about Vancouver Film School, the prosthetics, and those kind of courses. It's more famous for that. So you have universities like Ryerson University, George Brown College, Fanshawe, Seneca. Then the top universities out there, which are University of Toronto, British Columbia, they are very academic universities and don't offer much of fashion courses. Some of them do offer courses in fine arts, but as a general outcome, they don't have much of fashion and design courses into them. Again, universities like Alberta, Concordia, they do have interior and architectural courses. So for those who are looking for architecture courses, interior courses, graphic designing, user interaction design, technology based design courses, Canada is a very good option for you. Not that much when you are looking at, say, a fashion design or things like that. So the greatest advantage that Canada has to offer, that if somebody is looking at permanently settling down in that place, it offers a very quick permanent residency option. And in fact, even if you do a bachelor's degree for 3 years, it will give you a 3-year stay back. Any degree in Canada which you do for more than 2 years, it will give you a 3-year stay back. So that's a wonderful thing. Again, the fees are very reasonable, ranging from a 9 lakh to a 15 lakh, and even the living expenses are about 5 lakhs a year. And in terms of intake, most universities in Canada have both the September and January intake. Now, in terms of duration of the courses, if we can think back to the slide where I was talking about diploma courses, a lot of colleges in Canada actually have 2-year diploma courses which you can do, and you do get good jobs after it. So for example, if you do a 2-year course into graphic designing, filmmaking, animation, game design, you can actually get very good jobs after that, only after 2 years. And the fees would be as low as 9 lakh per year. So you can do that, start working in Canada, apply for a permanent residency, and come back after 1 or 2 years to complete your degree. So that's something that's very wonderful out there. So that's about Canada. A particular of interest of Canadian universities go for students who are going for tech courses. And I think a lot of you are asking me some doubts, and we'll take the doubts towards the end. We are almost, towards the end of the presentation. Again, in Australia, now moving on to Australia, we have top universities like Melbourne, Sydney, RMIT, New South Wales, University Technology Sydney, University of Queensland. The fees is anywhere from a 15 to a 25 lakhs here, and the living expenses are 5 to 7 lakhs. Now remember, Australia offers intakes which are very different from USA, UK, and Canada, because their weather system is very different from them. So they have intakes in July and February, not in September and January. Now, most undergraduate courses are again of 3 years, and postgraduate courses are, depending on the duration of course, from 1 to 2 years. The stay back that you get in Australia is for 2 years, so they do get, you know, a good stay back. Again, you don't need any SAT examinations to get into Australia. You need the same as UK, Europe, that we've been, you know, talking about. One very good thing about Australia is that after Canada, it's the second most generous place when you want to apply for a stay back, and they do give out a good amount of scholarship. Okay, I think somebody has asked me what it means by stay back. I'm sorry if I didn't make that very clear. So what's a stay back is basically after you finish your course. So for example, if you do a 3 years of a bachelor's of design course in anything, so after that you get a 2 years of an extra visa in which you can stay in that country, you can work, apply for jobs. So that is what a stay back is. So that kind of becomes very important. So like I said, in case of UK, this was 2 years. In case of USA, it's 1 year. In case of Europe, it ranges from 1 to 2 years. In case of Australia, it's, you know, 2 years. Now, again, for Australia, I would personally suggest, in terms of the feedback that I have gotten from students, just like Canada, it's not necessarily a much of a fashion hub. So of course, when we are applying for a fashion course, we in both terms of employment, jobs, we need to, you know, carefully think about the places. So Australia again is very good when you want to apply for, you know, game design, animation, photography, interior design, technology design, those kind of courses. I personally wouldn't suggest it too much for fashion courses, though you can go, but more preference should be given when you're applying for courses like the ones I just mentioned, because those are the ones that are having more jobs over there. For fashion students, the hubs are USA, UK, and Europe. That should be on your priority list. Then, coming to last but not the least, Singapore and Asia. Of course, this is a very popular choice for Indian students. Firstly, yes, being very close to home, and it's a culture that is very similar to ours. And the fees is relatively sometimes low also. So now Singapore and Asia, you have top universities in Singapore like LaSalle College of Arts, Raffles Institute. If we go to Hong Kong, HKUST, Hong Kong Polytechnic Institute. Singapore has, you know, National University of Singapore as well. If we talk about South Korea, you have Seoul University. Then Japan and China also have few universities. So of course, these are very great universities that are there. So in terms of tuition fees, again, very flexible, just like UK. Living expenses are not much there. They do offer, you know, intakes in July, September, as well as February also. The duration of the courses is also fine, pretty much 3 years for undergrad and 1 to 2 years for postgrad. A slight disadvantage over here that I can think of for Asian countries is, one, their stay back period, which I just spoke about, isn't much. It's as low as 0 to 6 months. So what happens in other countries is they are giving you stay back period after your degree to actually search for jobs. What Asian countries say is, when you are in your final year of graduation, you will need to have a job in your hand, and only then you can get a visa. They will necessarily not give you a visa to actually find jobs. And then, the admissions are very competitive, because just like India, even in these countries, there are just 1 or 2 universities. And apart from Singapore, most of the other countries, again, like Europe, have a huge language barrier. So you'll have to actually, put these, consider these factors before getting into an Asian college. So the advantage is, of course, close proximity to India. It's very, very, competitive. So of course, if you do get into it, you'll be studying with the best of the students. But the stay back and the language barrier is there, and exposure as compared to a UK, USA, or Europe might be a little bit, less. So this was me giving you an overall. I will share the presentation. Yeah. And I think somebody is asking me that master's course of finance. What will happen here is, I think Pranvi is asking about the Seoul National University. What I'll suggest that, you book one-to-one sessions with me, because there is, I would want to know what you exactly want to know about it. To start with, why don't you go on the website and research about it, and I'll get back to you later on a one-to-one session. Right, so this was my fair assessment about all universities. And like I had said in the beginning, that we are very student centric as a company. We are not pushing you to go to any one universities, any one university. We will give you a very fair and a candid view of different countries. So in terms of choosing universities, I'll not be able to answer all queries right now, because this differs from person to person. So just a last part on quickly, that how you should be choosing your universities. Like I said, it has to be a process. You'll have to become a part of the process, do your own research. This shouldn't be a decision of one day. You'll have to look at if the country and the university is fitting your budget. Is it offering the course that you like? Is it offering the modules that you like? What backup options do I have in India in case I'm not able to make it to those universities? Do I have the credentials for it? Like I said, if some of you are not applying this year, for example, you think that I want to apply to a FIT or a Parsons, but they are asking you to take the SAT, and you think I can't score very well in the SAT, then you'll have to start looking for alternative options. On the other hand, if somebody is saying that, okay, I only want to go to a country because and it's very important for me to get a permanent residency of that country, so we'll have to look for options only for those countries which offer easy stay back options and easy permanent residency. So this is very case by case basis. So that's why we need individual sessions with each students to actually tell them what's best for them. So as a company, what we will help you in, yes, you can apply to public universities abroad. There was a question. You can very well apply to public universities in abroad, but unlike India, there is no concept there like that the public universities are good and privates are not good. So, to break that myth, all Ivy League universities are private universities. So while you can apply to public universities, don't think that private universities are not good. It works very different abroad than it works here in India. So in terms of our services as a company, what we offer everything, right from when you want to, if you want to figure out what you are good at in terms of counseling, in terms of what your interest aptitudes are, we do provide that counseling and psychometric testing, to applications in India, to applications abroad, A to Z, all of that service is something that we provide. And yeah, I think some of you were asking me about, internships and all of that also. So we do have, different programs to fit each one. For students who are in class 9th and 12th, we have a lovely profile development program for them. So all those details I'll share with you on your emails post that. I think, without wasting any more time, these are my contact details for more questions that individually you will have, that you can email me on. I'll just put my contact details in the chat section also. And now I think we can just take up some questions that the students have, because we're already moving a little over time. So you can please go ahead and ask the questions.
Sakshi, that was a lovely session, and I'm sure the students really had an insight on the entire process of admission. And rather, my personal suggestion, yes, the schools should be doing these kind of sessions right from grade 9th, 10th, because then, yes, the students, they have the right time to prepare themselves thoroughly for this. But nevertheless, it's never late to get started whenever you are aware about the things. And we have basic queries on stayback that you have already cleared. In queries related to internships for students, those who are in grade 11th, yes, the company, they provide internships also. So where they are related to the kind of course that you're really interested in pursuing. So I would suggest you can get in touch, and you can always build up your profile accordingly.
Yeah, I think I'd want to, just add on to that. So there are some websites like internshala.com where you can find a lot of internships. And like I had mentioned before, now is the time you should all get on LinkedIn, which is a professional platform, and you can get a lot of internships there and write to different companies, take their emails from the websites. You can write to them, send them your resume, and you will be able to, get internships. Also, I think before we move on to the questions, we did say that for this workshop we will offer everybody certificates. So I have actually just sent in the link for a feedback form. I would request all of you to just fill that in, so this will be your proof of attendance, so that we can share some certificates with you. I will email everybody the presentation and some more details about us, so that will have our contact details. I think we can take more questions if we have time.
Right. And I would suggest before venturing into internship, they can build up on their skills also.
Right.
So, because no company would hire you unless and until you've got something to offer to them. So please start with that first, and then probably, yes, move to internships. And they are really very right way, a right approach to understand that whether you're liking the course that you are thinking of, because it's kind of an opportunity that you get to explore the workplace. Do we have any more questions here? Prisha, do we have any inquiries? Any queries from the students? I suppose
No,
no.
ma'am, there are no queries in the chat right now.
Okay. And you personally want to clear anything?
So yes, ma'am, I just wanted to ask that I want to apply to 6-7 universities. So like the portfolio requirements would be different for each university. So like when should I start making my portfolio?
So you should start making your portfolio as early as you can, right from your class 11th or 10th also.
I am in 12th only.
She's in
You're in
12,
class
yeah.
12, so you can
With,
start preparing your portfolio. So now what will happen is the basic thing for the portfolio will remain the same. What can happen is later on you can just see some universities, like I showed you some samples also. Some
Yeah,
universities might say, okay, just send us the pictures. Some universities might say that add a title and a description. Some universities might say that 7 is enough for us. Some might say that send 10. So in
yeah,
general, start preparing for a 10 to 15. And what you can always do is, for the universities that you are applying for, always check the website first.
yeah.
We'll have
Okay.
the website. अगर इस साल के लिए नहीं भी है, तो you can just get an idea from the last year's requirements. Usually
Okay.
they remain same.
Okay. Thank
yeah,
you.
because some universities, they might have their own challenges also. So
Exactly.
apart from
Yeah.
the basic,
Carson challenge.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so they have their own challenge where they would have given you a particular question and you would have to do and submit that also.
Ma'am, there's a question as to how do we access this PPT?
Like I said, please fill in the feedback form that I have shared. So along with our details, I will share the PPT with everybody so that you can get access to the top universities and everything. Okay, we'll before I think closing down, I'll just again take a minute for everybody to actually click on the Google form.
Yeah.
And in case somebody misses that, please email us, or you can message ma'am or me. We'll provide you with the link for the same, and we'll send you the PPT as well. And thank you so much to the Trends Academy for inviting me, and thank you for having me over here, and thanks to all the participants for joining us. And how do you book a session personally with me? I have sent you my contact details. You can contact me on that tomorrow.
Thank you, Sakshi, and it was a great, lovely experience here. And the session had been really very enriching for the students as well. And as I can see, such a great participation. And that too, they were constantly listening to you with no disturbances, and they were totally engrossed. So it was really nice to have you here, and glad you could make up time for us and time for our students, and they would be I think looking forward for more personalized sessions,
Yes.
because each student, they have their own requirement in
Yes.
terms of the institutes that they would like to
Exactly.
process their applications. And as suggested, yes, they have an option of applying to the foundation course also. So, but then there is just one thing that I wanted to clear. As you mentioned that the students also feel they want to apply to a good university, and suppose their portfolio is not that great, so then they can go in for their foundation program, and where you're spending 1 year extra.
Yeah.
Now, do we get to know about this process where one can actually start for applying for the direct first year, but in case their process gets rejected, and after that they can go into the foundation program, that
Yes.
can be done?
That's the ideal thing for you to do, that in fact the universities themselves suggest it. So for example, you apply to the normal course in a particular university, and the university feels that at this point, looking at your portfolio and other achievements, that you're not prepared for their university, then they'll suggest you to go for the foundation course.
Okay, so they'll have time for that part
Yes,
also.
they'll have the time for that part.
Okay, great.
You don't need to directly apply for the foundation year. Yeah.
Great. Okay. Thank you, Sakshi, and thank you, students. I hope all your queries are through, and it's really nice to read such lovely messages on the great session. And thanks to Sakshi ma'am for presenting such a beautiful session and giving a clear insight on the admission process.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye. Have a good evening. Bye.